Hello, my name is Cian Toomey, and I'm the Program Director for the BSc Financial Maths and Economics, GY309 here at NUI Galway. And what I'm going to do in this short presentation is basically give you some idea as to what to expect when you arrive here at the university. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share a PowerPoint presentation and talk around that because the PowerPoint has some useful web links and information that you'll find of interest. Okay, so we'll get started. And basically, as you know, now that you've finished your Leaving Cert and you're coming on to university, you need to get yourself prepared for what lies ahead. And in this, as I said, welcome video, I just wanted to give you an indication as some of the key things just to keep an eye on before you arrive, and then the week you do arrive on campus. So as mentioned, my name is Cian Toomey, and as well as the program director of this program, GY309, I'm also a lecturer in financial economics here in GY309 School of Business and Economics. So what I wanted to try to do with this particular presentation is to tell you a little bit about what to expect. So the first thing to mention is the program. Especially given the title of the program, you can expect to be learning mathematics and economics. Obviously, with a more financial orientation than you would do, let's say, if you were just studying pure mathematics or pure economics. So just in terms of how things work here at the university, we're grouped into schools, and there are two main schools that you will be interacting with. Those are the School of Mathematics, Statistics and Applied Mathematics, which is located in Áras de Brún. Again, you're going to spend a lot of time moving in and out of Áras de Brún on various occasions. So that particular building is near the main quadrangle, and it's quite easy to find. It's basically between the quadrangle and the library. The second school that you'll be dealing with is known as the GY309 School of Business Economics, and that's located in the Cairns building, which is in what we call the North Campus. So basically towards the top end of the campus as you move from the quadrangle. Again, just a couple of things that I would recommend you do before you arrive. The first thing is to download the NUI Galway app. It's a very useful app that you can use on your phone. It has many features integrated, including a campus map, including links to information about the university. So I definitely recommend you use that before you arrive. The other thing is that above the school, you have what's called the college system. And the Financial Maths and Economics program is run through the College of Science and Engineering. And that will be particularly important for any administrative issues that you might have in due course. So for example, if you need to contact the college office about, let's say, for example, deferring an exam, or you have a particular query about registration or whatever, the college office is where you're going to be going there. And on this screen, you'll see basically a map of where you're going to find the college office. So the college office is located right in the heart of the campus on what's called the concourse. And again, you're going to be in and out of the concourse quite a lot. Many of the main lecture theatres are located on the concourse. So you're going to come across those as you go through, particularly in first and second year. Again, the concourse is bookended at one end by the Bank of Ireland, which again, people will be familiar with once you arrive. Just to indicate again, the college office is headed by Professor Walter Gear, who's the Executive Dean of the college. And I suppose you'll be dealing with a lot of the administrative people in the college, as I said, from time to time. So again, the key address there is down at the bottom of the screen, scienceengineering@nuigalway.ie. Okay, so just a little bit about the program. So many of you probably have looked at this already, but the program is organized essentially into what we call a credits system. And the credits work basically on the basis of each module or subject has a certain amount of credits associated with it. Mostly, it'll be 5 credits as shown on the screen there, But sometimes you might have a module, such as, for example, in first year mathematics, it's combined into a 15 credit module. So that's a particularly important one to obviously focus on. The other thing just to note there is in first year, we have a dedicated first year advisor. It's my colleague, Dr. Michael Hayes. You can see his contact details there on screen. And Michael will also be helping out with the first year orientation. But Michael is the person to contact in first year for issues around, let's say, timetables or registration or any queries you might have initially. Okay, so I won't go through all of the modules now. Again, what's recommended is that you know what it is you're going to be learning. Have a look at each module on the system. And the two things that I would recommend you have a look at before you arrive are, first of all, the timetable. And again, the timetable is up on what we call the Schoolmaster system. So it's part of the mathematics website. And as indicated there, it indicates the code, the name of the module, and the lecture concerned. So for example, if we take the very first one there, the very first lecture you're going to have is Principles of Microeconomics, known as EC135, and it's been delivered by Dr. Gerard Turley. And then the next one is MA 180, Mathematics, and that's been delivered by Professor Graham Ellis. And then the final thing, of course, you'll note there as well, is that there is in brackets a name such as Kerwin O'Flaherty. So that's basically the name of the theatre in which you will be learning that. One thing to note, by the way, again, is, and this will be explained in more detail at the orientation itself. For this year, we're dividing up, for example, for practicals, the group into A and B, just for space constraints, etc. Some of these particular modules you will be joining, for example, first year arts. Some of them will be joining first year science. Some of them you'll be on your own. So again, it's worth noting where each of the modules is, making sure you know how to get there in good time. You'll notice as well, just finally before I move on, that we don't have any lectures this year on a Friday. Again, typically the academic year that is going to happen here at NUI Galway is divided up into 2 semesters. And a semester is basically 12 teaching weeks, typically is 1 study week, sometimes it can be 2, and then a number of examination weeks. So in first year, this year, you don't have any exams at the end of semester 1. So you're going to have your exams at the end of the 2nd semester in summer 2022. So just to point out here that each semester happens fairly quickly. And again, if you do fall behind, it can be quite difficult to catch up. So make sure that you get going from the beginning. And again, each of your lecturers will help you catch up if you do fall behind a little bit from time to time. So again, another thing that I would download before you arrive is just to understand what are the dates, the key dates. So you'll be given information from the college office about orientation. So each group has a slightly different orientation day. But the next most important thing to note is the start of teaching happens on the 27th of September. So that'll be your first lecture, and keeps going then until the 17th of December. And basically then exams for other years, let's say second year, third year, etc., would happen in December. You don't have exams at the end of this first semester. What you're going to have instead is typically some kind of assessments. And then after Christmas, we're back on the 10th of January, and we're continuing up to, as you see, middle of April. Exams start in the 19th of April, and they finish on the 6th of May or thereabouts. Okay, so just a couple of other things to note about holidays and so on. So again, just make sure you put these into your diary or onto your phone so that you know the key dates. Again, without spending too long on this point, one of the main things that you're going to learn about studying in a university is that your learning is going to be much more independent than would be the case, let's say, in a secondary school. So again, it's up to you to motivate yourself to get up, to get into class, to do the homework, to do the assignments, to attend the practicals and so on. And again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to develop your critical thinking skills and your analytical skills. And again, when you're learning over the years of the Financial Maths and Economics program, which we believe is an interesting and challenging program, you're going to develop all of these critical thinking skills. But again, one main thing to note is that it's up to you to engage. Again, each lecture will help you do this. Okay, so as we know, we're normally in a situation where we're face-to-face. Obviously, we're back to that this year, and we're trying to maximize the on-campus experience, as you know. And to that end, effectively, what you're going to have typically in your timetable are scheduled lecture times, which you should attend. Then, very important to note as well, that you're going to have tutorials for several of the modules that you're going to have. So you're going to need to add those to your own personal timetable. So the tutorials are, generally speaking, smaller groups where you're divided up. And again, it could be run by maybe a postgrad tutor or the lecturer themselves. But the idea of these tutorials is that it'll be much more problem solving, much more, I suppose, interactive in most instances. And finally, in financial maths and economics, we have some computer science modules, and we have some modules in mathematics that involve computer-based assessments and so on. So you will also have computer practicals, which again, just take note of the times and dates of those. Some of those might be online this year, but again, just make sure that you know when and where those they're happening. Again, just for information, we do take attendance via an app called Quickly, which your lecturer will explain, and that is all happening through Blackboard. So speaking of Blackboard, again, on your NUI Galway app, you can get a link to the Blackboard app as well. So you should download Blackboard, which is what we call a virtual learning environment. It's basically the online system for putting up information about each module. So it's really, really important that you become familiar with Blackboard, that you register on Blackboard, and you know how to navigate the menus and so on. So again, it'll be used for announcements, any changes to modules in terms of dates or whatever, that'll all be up there as well. Typically speaking, some lecturers do what's called asynchronous delivery. All that means is basically they might pre-record material, such as I'm doing here. Sometimes they might have live online lectures in addition to the normal lectures in class. And again, that can be done via Blackboard as well. Also, there's going to be, in many cases, lots of other online materials in Blackboard, course notes, materials, and also anything like an assignment, quizzes, etc., is all done through Blackboard. Very important so that you get up to speed with Blackboard. Again, just simply logging onto Blackboard is not the same as learning, so you need to obviously make sure you engage with the material once it's up there as well. Again, the materials that are there are an aid to learning, and the purpose again of university education is not necessarily to learn things off by heart or by rote. It's to develop your skills, and so again, you're not going to be basically taught to learn off answers as such. So it's quite different maybe to what your previous experience is, let's say in the Leaving Cert environment, for example. Just another point of information, Microsoft Office 365 is free to download. So again, everything from Outlook to Excel, it can be downloaded through the NUI Galway Office 365 links that you can find on the Student Services website. Another thing just to point out again, we're very conscious of the fact that some people will need supports in different ways, whether those are academic help or other supports. So again, on the link here, you'll see there are lots of different supports available. So make sure to engage with those supports if they're relevant for you. Okay. Again, the library itself is much more than just a place where you get books. It has really good academic skills services, which I would recommend you engage with. Another thing as well that will be worth mentioning is that we have a SUMS support system, which operates through the School of Mathematics. So again, just make sure you know the dates when that is up. Again, you'll be given information about that in due course. So as I said, when do classes start? Well, the classes start on the 27th of September. Again, consult the timetable and Blackboard for each module. All right, so make sure that you know when the material, when the lecture is happening. A really important thing was probably to develop your own personal timetable, possibly in Outlook or similar, because again, each of you will have different tutorial times, practical times, obviously as well. Some of you will have other things, let's say part-time work, or you're involved in sports and clubs and so on. So again, really important that you develop a kind of, I suppose, a discipline around your time for each week. Okay. So as I said, just finally then, make sure you keep up with your studies, obviously in academic activities as you arrive. Do try to ensure that you're not here just to learn things off by heart. You're here to develop your abilities as a student of mathematics and economics, as well as a personal development. So with that in mind as well, I would strongly encourage you to get involved with lots of the things that are on campus, such as the clubs and societies that are here. You can find pretty much a club for anything. And the same applies for society. So again, just keep an eye on the Students' Union website for that information. Again, whatever support services are relevant for yourself, make sure you know where they are, make sure you engage early. And finally, I suppose, and this is, I suppose, the point, you are going to develop friends on this course, okay? And make sure you help each other through this. As we all know, we've been through, as a country, a challenging time, and hopefully we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. But we're well aware of the fact that obviously coming to university now in the current environment is still certainly an experience that some of you are going to find daunting. So we just would encourage you to make sure you help each other out, and finally have as much fun as you possibly can learning as you go along. Okay, so as mentioned at the very beginning, my name is Cian Toomey. The email, by the way, for most lectures is simple enough, which is first name, second name @nuigalway.ie, which does indeed apply to myself. So I'd like to thank you for listening to this presentation, and hopefully we'll get to meet you when you do arrive on campus. Thank you.